Shibuya Incident arc. Are you guys ready for absolute madness, carnage and heartbreak? Well, I am. From the videos that I've been posting on this channel, it seems that most people watching season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen are in fact manga readers of the story. But still, I'll put a disclaimer that there will be spoilers talked about in this video. You have been warned. This episode is the calm before the tsunami that will hit us and hit us badly. Because the opening for this arc has this Halloween horror vibe to it, with it having that dark red palette as the color scheme for the opening. And it makes sense because Halloween is also on the 31st of October as well, so having that apocalyptic horror aesthetic makes sense. Remember back in episode 1 of season 2, during the Gojo Past arc, we had that scene where Otahime and Meimei were looking for the cursed spirit in that house, and both of them split up to look for it. And we had that scene with the fake out where Otahime got spooked by rats underneath the bed. The music, the camera angles, the voice acting, everything there made it look like you were watching a horror film. And it looks like, just by judging from the opening, we won't just have epic fights in Shibuya. Don't get me wrong, we know there will be epic fights with our main characters being right in the thick of it, but I feel the anime will also enhance the psychological horror aspect into it as well. The animators were very cheeky with the opening as well from a visual point of view. We had all the imported hand gestures showcased, as well as the hand gesture of Mahoraga, where we see the wheel as the hand sign was being done. We had the drawing on the wall with the 3 special grade curses that are helping Geto, aka Kenjaku, with Hanami, Mahito and Jogo. My favorite part has to be the transformation and transition from Yuji to Sukuna as the lyrics "You are my special" was being sung. And one little detail they added was when Sukuna was revealed, he had fire in the background as he was doing his usual menacing Joker-esque smile. It's revealed to us in this very arc that Sukuna is actually a fire user and not just a slicer. So having the background burst into flames as soon as Sukuna hits the screen was a nice touch for us manga readers. There's so many little Easter eggs here in this opening that you constantly want to re-watch just to see what they added in. But Mappa, as usual, smashed it with the opening. The song and the darker visuals fit the mood of how this arc is going to be. The episode itself covered chapters 64, 79 and 80. Yes, instead of revealing Yuko before the Gojo Past arc, they did it before the Shibuya Incident arc in the anime, which I actually prefer if I'm honest, because the Gojo Past arc is then immediately followed up with the Shibuya Incident arc. And if I'm being honest, you do end up forgetting about Yuko because the stakes for the story have increased tenfold after Shibuya ends, so Akutami didn't give Yuko any attention, hence why as the reader, you would forget that Yuko even exists in the story. But the reason why I prefer having it before the Shibuya Incident arc instead of the Gojo Past arc is, firstly, we have a break between the 2 major arcs where major events have occurred for the story, and it's a lot to take in as a viewer. So having that little break in between gives us that breather that we need just to soak up everything that happened in the Gojo Past arc. And secondly, it reminds us how good of a character Yuji really is. He is such a good, kind-hearted person, almost rivaling Tanjiro from Demon Slayer in terms of just being a genuine good guy. Seeing how good of a character he is before the heartbreak in Shibuya and the psychological damage Sukuna does to Yuji is the reason why us remembering what a good guy Yuji is will hit us even more. The flashback where Yuko was fat as a kid and was waiting outside the classroom, where Yuji was chilling with his mates, and Yuji revealing that the girl that's his type was Yuko, saying he likes her handwriting and the way she eats, shows to us that Yuji doesn't look down on people despite him being the pinnacle of athleticism in his school. Remember guys, back in season 1, he was breaking world records and people were comparing him to Marco Krokop. So the guy had God-gifted strength and talent for sports where even teachers were challenging him. He was the guy for that school. Naturally, top athletes in any school would be amongst the popular kids in school, and Yuji was number 1 in most sports. So of course, why wouldn't anyone want to hang around with him? Plus, he's a genuine good guy as well, whereas Yuko was invisible. There was that scene where Yuji and his boys were in the corridor and they just walked past Yuko as if she wasn't there. Don't get me wrong, they didn't do anything bad at all in my opinion. They were just goofing around, which is why they don't notice her, but it's telling that the very girl Yuji said he liked was right there and they didn't mention anything to her or Yuji. They were teasing Yuji when they were in the classroom but didn't even notice her in the corridor to tease him in front of her. You know, the usual school banter when you know two people have crushes on each other. But Yuji still said he liked her, and he said it when she wasn't even there. She was waiting outside the classroom, yes, but Yuji never knew she was there, so the fact that he's saying all this stuff complimenting her shows the difference between himself and Gojo and Sukuna. Gojo, maybe not in the current timeline, but during the Gojo past arc, hated the weak. And Sukuna, well, I don't think that needs much explaining. The big two characters who are currently fighting off in the manga had a history of being arrogant because they were the strongest. Gojo proclaimed that he himself is the honored one, while Sukuna was known in the Heian period to be the king of curses and was the original honored one. And now we have Gojo's protege as well as Sukuna's vessel, Yuji, who can be another honored one level character by the endgame of the series. All three of these characters are absolute monsters in strength. Generational strength is embedded within these characters, but only Yuji is humble enough to look out for the weak and to give them a chance. That's why Yuko said she liked him over everyone else, because despite all that talent and strength, he was still a down-to-earth guy looking beyond a person's flaws and would rather focus on what makes that person great. Yuji may not be there yet in terms of strength, but because he is grounded compared to Sukuna and Gojo, maybe he will become the true honored one. The very definition of honored in the Cambridge Dictionary says to show great respect for someone or something, especially in public, which is exactly what Yuji did in this very episode. So maybe being called the honored one isn't about being the strongest, but also having that respect for those who are not on your level when it comes to strength and power. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it really got me thinking why Akutami would have this moment in Yuji's life be revealed before two major arcs in the series when it comes to the manga. And when I looked deep into it, this is what came to mind. The rest of the episode was set up for the bigger play to come in Shibuya. Mekamaru is basically Iron Man, and all the other robots that he was using to fight off against Mahito was basically like Avengers Age of Ultron. I got that vibe when watching this episode, and Mahito, mate, I forget what a nutcase this guy is. And to be fair, as a manga reader, watching this episode now gets me appreciating his character more. As much as Sukuna has that Joker smile, Mahito literally is the Joker to Yuji's Batman. This is an excellent start to the Shibuya Incident arc, leaving us on that cliffhanger with Mahito versus Mekamaru. There's so much more to come from this arc. I can't wait for the big moments to be animated. What did you guys think of the opening and the episode so far? Please let me know in the comments down below. I upload Jujutsu Kaisen content weekly discussing your favorite characters from this series, so please check the rest of my content out. Your tribal chief will be very grateful. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.